Mr. Shirelli was here, this is a very important part of the province of Ontario, this building.
Yeah, I mean, I think the long-term energy plan recognises that for everything to fit together, this site has to keep doing what it's doing today, which is 6,300 megawatts. So it's a real important statement.
You hit the nail on the head too with you saying it's a teamwork effort with the contractors, with the local people as well.
Yeah, I mean, the site's not been a steady state at all since we've been here. You know, we started with 4 units, we then got to 6, and now we're at 8. And we'll only be at 8 for a couple of years, and then we start massive refurbishment. We'll spend 15 billion a year for the next 10 years. 15 billion over the next 10 years. That's a massive investment. So it's going to be a very busy, hectic program of work, and it won't be successful if everyone's not on the same page.
For you, what are the next steps as far as getting ready for those projects?
Well, as I said, I've got 4 building blocks which are important for us to do. First one was getting the policy right, which I think the long-term energy plan does. The second one is turning that into a contractual relationship, which we'll now work with Ontario Power Authority on. It's a complex transaction. We're optimistically hoping we can do that over the course of from now till middle of next year at the earliest, maybe end of next year. Because the issue is that we really have to be ready to start a refurbishment on 1st of August 2016. Now, you don't just blow a whistle on the end of July and start that, so there's a lot of preparatory work, ordering materials, setting our own contracts, so we need to move quickly to do that. So as I said, number 2 is getting the contract with our counterparty that allows us then to go off and plan the work. The third one is kind of obvious to say is I need the investors. I need the investors to feel that this is the kind of place they want to put their money in, and as you'll understand, that 15 billion is not a small ask, and some of our majority investors have got pension liabilities to meet, so they want to be absolutely certain if I say it's 15 that it's not going to be 30. That would be bad news. So they're going to take quite a bit of convincing that we can do what we said we'd do when we said we would for the cost. And then the fourth piece is we have to demonstrate our ability to operate these units well, because the idea is it's good operation that actually provides the investors their return. So while we're doing these plans, we also have to deliver our operating plan. So if any one of those 4 things isn't in play, then we won't be successful. Now, as I said, we've got the first one, which is the policy right. We're doing pretty well operationally wise this year. We need a strong operating year next year, because that's really when we'll ask for the cash. And so that's a critically important year. Next year's a big year for us in terms of delivering our business plan.
Does this energy plan, is this the green light to really go full bore? What do you?
Yeah, well, I know this will sound a bit superficial, but I couldn't see the energy plan not giving us 6,300 megawatts for the previous question. We've played a critical role in meeting the energy shortfall. As was said here already, closing coal wasn't possible without us. So if we're not here, then what do you do next? So there is a very strong reasoning for us being there. So I'm not surprised that the plan includes us. But the challenges still remain that I've got to actually have a plan to execute refurbishment that can deliver the outcome that we need, and I've got to then be able to convince the investors to place a bet, and it's a big bet, and so there's 2 big challenges still remain.
You mentioned up on the stage you've learned from the past, and you're confident that you can do a better job of meeting budget and on time this time?
If I didn't think that, then I shouldn't be in this job. The point I make is that in 2005 when we announced the deal to start the refurbishment of 1 and 2, I remember saying if we can't do this on time, on budget, no one can. And here I stand looking back at it, and we took twice as long as we said we would, and it cost twice as much. So we can't do that again. We won't be afforded the chance to do it again. So these were very expensive lessons. So So firstly, the plan will be a lot more realistic this time. Secondly, we're not doing the 2 units right on top of each other, which we did last time, so the complexity and magnitude of the projects is not as difficult as 1 and 2 were. Thirdly, the units are operating now, so there's not so many unknowns. Units 1 and 2 have been shut down for more than 15 years apiece, so there's a lot of unknowns about the plant condition which we won't face this time. So there's a lot of reasons for being more optimistic, not just the experience but also the condition of the assets and the scale of the projects gives us confidence we can do it with a better outcome.
And you mentioned that you're doing stuff that you haven't that you've done before.
Yeah, true. There aren't any first of a kind things this time. Arguably, the one complication is that these reactors have got fuel in them, whereas the other ones were defueled and shut down. So this time we've got to defuel the reactors before we start. It should be a routine process, but it does make the reactors a bit hotter when we're working on them, so we need to factor that in. But apart from that, every operation that we need to do we've already done.
Do you know where you're going to start? Which unit? Or
yeah, Unit 4. Unit 4, August the 1st, 2016.